DIY or Die, Walker Vapor Group LLC, or any of its associates do not condone nor encourage the use of nicotine, vapor products, or any mood-altering substances without the explicit consent of a physician. The content viewable on this channel is strictly for entertainment purposes only and not meant to be seen as informational or educational. Must be 21 years or older to view these materials.
Silky beat. Hey, what is up, mixers? Welcome back to another episode of the MIXINVIXENS. I'm a Vixen, and my name is Emily, also known as Mil Nikon. And let's say hello to our other Vixens. First off, let's pick on Rin to go first. Hi, Rin.
Hi, I'm a Vixen. I'm Rin Vapes, also known as Rin Vapes.
You got Jen the E-Juice Fairy.
What's up, everybody?
Hello. And
Hello.
let's say hello to Lumi.
Hi.
The newest Vixen of the bunch. Hey, girl. And then last but certainly not least, we've got JJ, also known as the Flavor Pro.
Good evening, everyone.
How the heck are you, girls?
I've been cleaning all day.
Oh, nice. It's a good day for that.
Yeah, organizing, trying to finish organizing everything in here. It's getting there.
Yeah, I've done very little bit this weekend. I played with makeup yesterday. I can't think of anything significant I did other than making my ears ring, but we will get into that.
Yeah, this was kind of a low-key weekend for me. I didn't really do anything. I went to a friend's house yesterday and played some cards, and then I did a little bit of mixing today, but haven't really done anything this weekend. It was nice, just chilled out.
Cool. Awkward silence. We gotta love those.
Yeah, we're full of them. If you're new here, stay tuned. We're full of awkward silences, so that's fun.
Embrace it. That's when you know that you're comfortable around someone, when you can share silence comfortably.
Exactly. This is how comfortable we are with you guys. You're our peeps. You're our fam. We're cool. We're all cool around here. We're fine being awkward.
Not a Pulp Fiction movie quote. Absolutely not.
All right. Well, how did everyone like doing this mix this week, guys?
I loved it. I absolutely had a great time with it because it was something new. Today's officially the first day of the holiday season, and that's what I heard from my daughter, anyways. And this was a holiday mix. It's perfect timing.
Nice. Yeah, I really enjoyed mine. I made a few different versions, and it was kind of tough going through them to figure out try to get the nuances and what I like better, but I managed to do it, and I really enjoyed it. It's a good mix. How about you, Lumi? How'd you like doing your mix?
I loved my mix all the way up until it had a week to steep, and then I kind of raged at it a little bit. I had to do an emergency remix this morning, so I'm just gonna go ahead and state that mine is a shaken vape. You can't really expect anything more where my mentor is Fresh 03.
Well, you know what? The people like shaken vapes because, especially newer mixers, they're impatient. They don't understand sometimes the benefit of steeping. So shaken vapes are good. Shaken vapes.
Well, the good thing about mine was it was pretty decent on day 1 through the day 7 steep.
Nice. So it doesn't matter when they try it.
It mellowed out a little bit, but I mean, it still tastes good.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was pretty upset. It turns out Addie Tooney really is the godfather of the community because I loved my recipe so much that I was vaping it the whole week after I made it, and I sent you guys all the little tease video just to pick on you guys. Was vaping it all the way up until Friday, and I was like, I'm so excited. I want to share this with you. And I mentioned that I used liquid barn pumpkin, and Addie Tooney made a face and was like, ooh. And he warned me that there's a burnt rubber taste to it.
Yum.
Oh,
Oh,
and once you've been told,
oh yeah.
find
You
it.
can't
Start
undo
tasting it.
Well,
Wouldn't
no,
have known.
here's the thing. I was still vaping it all night, and I was like, I don't get that. I still really enjoy it. But then I put it away. So I don't know if I might have gotten like vapor's tongue to it. I put it away
Probably.
overnight, and then I went back to revisit it right before I went to bed to be like, I want to see how my little treasure's doing. And I got the burnt rubber, and I was like, son of a bitch. Addie Tooney was right. I should have known.
Well,
Pumpkins are gross.
I've never tried it, so I can't speak to it.
I didn't like it. It was weird. There is
They could have
definitely
given me a warning on it.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Everybody likes different things. So just because I can't listen to nothing JJ says. I mean, she tastes burning rubber and things that I never would have tasted burning rubber in. And she can't vape custard like the standard V1s. So, the only thing I could say I can listen to her is when she says a flavor's good, it's usually even better than she thinks it is.
generally, yeah.
But if she says it's bad, I can't go by that.
No, because it may not be bad to everybody.
It's usually not that bad to me. It's not as she describes it, anyways.
I'm also cream blind. So half the time I don't taste creams and stuff. And you'll be tasting creams, and that cream will cover up some off note that I don't like that I can taste because I can't taste the creams. So it's, but I can taste the creams in this week's somewhat.
Awesome. Awesome.
I avoided pumpkin. Fuck pumpkin.
Oh,
I was
that was
so
fighting
excited.
words.
I've been wanting pumpkin for the longest time. Like I've been bugging Swaggy to do me a custom pumpkin since I started DIYing, because I tried the Hanksons and it tasted like ramen noodles to me, and I was like, I'm not having this. No.
Ramen noodles.
I could see ramen noodles from that. Yeah,
And then pumpkin spice
it's funny.
was just too spicy for me, so I was like,
Yeah.
no. And then you sent me a little care package with all these pumpkins in it, and I'm like, pumpkin.
Yeah,
I can't. I said fuck pumpkin this year too. I was like, I'm done.
it doesn't work for a vape because it's not mild enough. This is why Fairy's Finest sweet potato actually worked the best.
Fairy's Finest sweet potato, eh? I don't think I've ever tried that one.
I mixed that with the Fairy's Finest pumpkin, and that was my base pumpkin flavor for everything that I did pumpkin. And it's really good. It tastes like pumpkin pie because it's lightly spiced.
Yeah.
And it's just got that silky kind of starchy hint of pumpkin to it when you combine the two, but you have to use so much of it. It was like 10%
before
pumpkin.
before I knew about Hankson pumpkin pie, I used to use TFA yam a lot for pumpkin. Just for that kind of starchy, pumpkin-y type flavor.
I'm kind of wondering if Flavora carrot and Flavora starch base and then something else might work as a pumpkin.
The thing with Flavora carrot is it's got some orange notes to me.
Yeah, it's orangey and it's got a bit of vegetal.
Raw. Like it's like it's
but just like a little bit, like 0.15% of that, and then something else to give it a little more.
I did use it last year and it came out decent, but how many years have I been mixing? 9, 10? Every single year I try for a pumpkin. Every year I start early trying to make a pumpkin. This year I was like, I'm not even going to try it. I'll just stick to ginger.
I went straight gingerbread.
I went ginger too. I went gingerbread cookie kind of stuff.
I went both ways. I went pumpkin and gingerbread.
I did several versions.
You went both ways?
It's how she rolls. All right, so let's just jump into them. Who would like to go first?
I'll go first since I don't know if my camera will last the entire show.
All right.
All right. For mine, I went with a gingerbread latte. So it's coffee, and it seems like I used a lot of Vape Train's cafe latte, but it's very, very strong when you first vape it. But after a week, it starts to fade. And after the second week, it's definitely starting to fade. So I had started out with like 1.5%, and I had to keep upping it. So I ended up at 4% to where it's actually coming through still, and it's actually still coffee. But I layered stuff in on top of it. So that's why it's kind of gets a little bit muted. 1% the coffee milk froth, because it does have a bit of a mouth feel to it that makes it a little bit thicker, and it's creamy, and it needed to be in there. I did a version with Capella's graham cracker. It'll work, same percentage. It tastes a little bit different. It's not quite as soft cookie. It's more of a crunchy cookie, and it's a little more spiced, a little more cinnamon spiced. So if you have Capella gingerbread, you could use that in place of TPA. I'm sorry. If you have Capella's graham cracker, you can use that in place of graham cracker clear from TPA. I like the TPA version. Then for the gingerbread layer, I did Capella's gingerbread and TPA's gingerbread extra, or extra ginger. And I only use 0.35% of that extra ginger one because it's pretty potent. And that's about where it started to come through. You could probably put a little bit more if you really are kind of a muted taster. You could probably bump it up to 0.5%, 0.75%. And it'll come through a little bit brighter ginger. And the Capella's gingerbread, I put at 1.25 because I didn't want it to just overpower everything, but I want it to be in there, kind of like it was really a flavored coffee. And then the whipped cream, 1.5% from Flavora, tops it off.
That sounds awesome. It sounds, I mean, how does the coffee do at the end of the day?
At the 4% after a 2-week steep, it's there. It's like I'm vaping coffee, but it's coffee with a gingerbread flavoring in it. So it's a gingerbread cookie flavored
I really
latte.
like that cafe latte flavor from Vape Train.
It's a nice coffee flavor. It's one
very
of the few.
smooth. Yeah.
It's smooth. It's a little bit dark. It's kind of probably like medium roast. I wouldn't say it's a dark roast, but I wouldn't say it's a light roast either. It's got a little kick, a little bite to it in the background, but not too bad. It's definitely not skunky, which is good.
Yeah, that's good.
And
I
how
like
many ingredients is that, JJ?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Killers. See, we're doing good.
I tried to go as minimal as possible. Like I just want the flavorings that will make this flavor.
No, that's
Yeah.
good. That's what I'm interested, because I don't think I've ever tried it before, is the TFA, the gingerbread extra ginger. Is that like kind of a thin, like spicy ginger to kind of just accent the gingerbread, or like what's that one like?
It's definitely more ginger. If you've ever had TFA's regular gingerbread one, it's less of the cookie notes that are in there and just more ginger. That's why I use so little, because it's potent. It's one of those TFA ones where it's shockingly strong. I started out at 0.5% and it blew me away. Even at
Sometimes
2
they do
weeks
their
deep.
spices that way. It's insane how they do those spices sometimes.
And I just wanted a little bit more. Like there should just be a little bit more ginger compared to what Capella's gingerbread has. That's got some spices to it. It's kind of like a spice cake. It's lacking some ginger. So the TFA came in and bumped that up.
Nice.
Yeah, that
Really
is
good.
definitely a strong flavor, because I used that and I was like, whoa, I gotta lower this a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, you'd be surprised that the Flavor West ginger is even spicier than the one from TFA. So, I mean, those ginger flavors, you just got to watch them.
Yeah, I tried to use Flavora's ginger snap, and that was just too bright of a ginger. The TFA gingerbread extra ginger is that same type of bright ginger, but it's got a little bit more depth to it than the ginger snap has.
Cool. Yeah, I tried to get that ginger snap to work because it's such a good flavor. Like at
It's
least
just
on
too
its own.
bright. Like you can use a
Very
little bit of
bright.
it, but you're gonna have to douse it in something darker.
Yeah, it's very bright. Nice. And now that coffee milk froth, like it's not, I don't get much coffee from it, but it's a great, like buttery, creamy,
Yeah, I don't get any
accent.
coffee from that. It's really just the heavy cream. It's buttery and rich and
Yeah.
delicious.
Yum yum. Cool.
It's,
So
it's
thanks for
probably
sharing that.
dappy. I can't vape this for very long. I started
Oh,
getting wheezy last night.
That mix looks like it's gonna be pretty dappy with that whipped cream and the coffee milk froth. It looks real good. Awesome.
Who's next?
I'll go so we don't have to wait. So I just call mine Foxy Latte, like Foxy Lady, because I thought it sounded good. It's not really, there's no coffee in it, but it's kind of like you think about Starbucks Frappuccino. A lot of times you really can't taste the coffee in it anyway. So it's kind of like I went that route. So I used the gingerbread extra ginger from TFA as well. That's the only gingerbread note I have in here. So I did bump it up a little bit to the 0.75 down from 1 because at 1 it was too much. 0.5% of honeycomb by Vape Train, 1.5% milkshake from Mullenberry, 2% Capella sugar cookie, 0.75% sweet cream by Vape Train, 0.75% vanilla cream by Vape Train, and then 1% of one-on-one whipped cream.
Man, I like where your head is at. This looks freaking delicious.
Yeah, I'm not a big spiced person for vaping, but like you layer enough creams and stuff on it, I mean, it'll be all right. The sugar cookie kind of calms it down a little bit because for me, sugar cookie kind of mellows things out. Almost like a smoothing agent, like similar to the TFA whipped cream that I used to put in everything.
Yeah. Speaking of TFA whipped cream, how come you went with one-on-one instead of TFA? Just curious.
Because I don't get whipped cream from TFA. To me, it just smooths things out. One-on-one actually has a cream note to it. I've been putting it in like nearly everything. I love it. I try to avoid it because like I want to put it in everything, but like sometimes you just, I don't know. It's like my new favorite.
Folks can sub Flavora's whipped cream in for it. It's not necessary to get one-on-one. They're so similar. It's very close. I've told people when I've used one-on-one, it's like just swap it for Flavora's if you don't have one-on-one and don't want to order from them.
Okay, cool. Good to know. And yeah, I like the addition to the Mullenberry milkshake to this because it is kind of like dark and malty, and I think it would go really well with that gingerbread.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that the honeycomb probably pulled the gingerbread down a little in darkness.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy this one a lot, Rin? I remember you were having trouble tasting things.
I wouldn't say a lot. Like I said, I don't like vaping spiced anything. But for a spiced mix, it's pretty good.
See, I'm not a huge fan of spice either, but I've been vaping a lot of things that like spice is just a really small little additive and like creams and stuff, and I just think it kind of sets them apart, and I really have been enjoying it. Like you take like vanilla custard and you just add just a touch of gingerbread or just a little bit of eggnog or something like that, and it just makes it really something special.
Yeah, eggnog probably would work in this as well. I'd probably take out the honeycomb. It was kind of a last minute thought though, so I didn't go that route.
Well, I mean, it looks delicious. I mean, it's just a latte without the cafe part, right?
Yeah, it's kind
of like a gingerbread milkshake.
Yeah. Warm.
It doesn't have to be warm. Like that could be a cold cup. You don't know.
It's Foxy, whatever it is.
Alrighty, I'll go next. So I just called mine MV Pumpkin Drink because I'm super creative with names. And for the pumpkin, I went with Hanks Pumpkin Pie at 4%. I should have gone higher, could have gone higher, but I think with everything else, like I still get lots of pumpkin together. To me, Hankson, you can really bump it up if you want to, but I like it at 4% because it gives it that earthy pumpkin essence without overtaking anything. And pumpkin pie, like it's so freaking smooth and velvety. It's such a good flavor. And then I did for the gingerbread cookie, I went with Capella gingerbread. This is, like I said before, I had tried Flavora Ginger Snap because I really think that's a good flavor as well, but it was just too bright for this. I wanted something a little bit darker, a little bit sweeter. So I went with Capella Gingerbread. And then for like the spice note, I was toying with the idea of going with like Flavora Eggnog or Flavora Cinnamon, and I also tried Flavora Pumpkin Spice. It was just too much. I wanted a little bit more mellow, a little bit more bakery. So I went with Flavora Apple Filling at just 0.5%. To me, I don't get very much apple at all. And what I do, it just blends in with the whole mix, so it doesn't like stand out as an apple mix. And then I topped it off with 2% Capella Vanilla Cream, just to give it some more smoothness and add a little touch of vanilla in there. And I've been really enjoying it. I think it's pretty good.
So did it come out like a drink or like a pie filling?
Let's be honest, it's vaping. You can't like, there's nothing that stands out to me as, oh, this is a drink, or oh, this is just a pie filling. Like it's
it's pumpkin. It's a pumpkin drink.
It's a pumpkin flavored vape, and it's freaking delicious.
That's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
Freaking delicious. Well, and the whipped cream from Capella, did you use the vanilla whipped cream? Do you get a lot of vanilla out of that?
I do. I get a really nice, like the Capella vanilla out of it, and it's just a really good vanilla note to me. It's like right in the middle. Like it's not super dark like a French vanilla, and it's not like a really light like a frosting vanilla. It's just right in the middle. It's a really good vanilla note. So it's good.
I bet it adds nicely to the sweetness because yes. I know that the pumpkin from Hangsen to me is not very sweet on its own.
It's not. It's I mean, it almost has like it's real earthy, like pumpkin is. And it's got maybe a little bit of like a kind of a bitter earthiness. And so I wanted to bring up the sweetness. And of course you can add sweetener to this with any of my recipes. Go ahead, add sweetener if you want. Knock yourself out. But the apple filling is a little bit of a sweeter spice, and the vanilla whipped cream, it adds some sweetness to it, so it's not so stark, if you will, in like its earthiness. So it's really good.
It's very good. Very good. Sounds delicious. It sounds really good, and it sounds really smooth too.
Yeah, it is. It's the one thing about the pumpkin pie. If you guys haven't tried that flavor, it's like velvety. It's just such a smooth flavor. It's creamy. It's good.
Pumpkin. Not doing it this year.
Well,
I might mix yours since I didn't have to mix it. I didn't have to come up with it. It's nice to have a pumpkin I can make that I don't have to make.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and only 4 flavors, it'll be a breeze to mix up.
Yeah, for me especially.
Yep.
So now it's between me and Lumi. Lumi, you want to go next or you want me to go next? You got your feet.
Whichever way you want to go. I'm just kind of go with the flow kind of type person. Whichever way.
Let's flow it to you. Since you left it up to me.
Okay. All right, like Emily, I'm oh so very creative with my flavor profile names. I did pumpkin cream MV.
Nice.
Right there with you, Emily. So I should probably get that out of my chest now that I'm spotlighted. Anywho, honestly, I was really excited about this thing because I just bought Capella's gingerbread and I got a little care package with a bunch of new pumpkins in it that I've never really tried. So I was doing lines of pumpkin sniffing. And I decided to stick with pumpkin bread, pumpkin pie, and pumpkin pie.
Some people do lines of Coke, Lumi does lines of pumpkin.
Lines of pumpkin.
Getting used to being spotlighted is so weird. Anywho, I loved the smell of the pumpkin pie by Liquid Barn. Initially, I had it at 1.27%, and then I discovered its downfall in that tastes like shit after a week. Just saying, my opinion. Pumpkin pie by Hankson, I get a ramen noodle taste, so
That's so weird.
I knew that couldn't be in there alone. Never go at it alone, so I threw some other pumpkin stuff at it. So I threw pumpkin bread. It smelled like it had the spices that I wanted, but it wasn't quite pumpkin spice from Flavor, where I'm really sensitive to spices, and I don't really like too many of them, so I like hints and notes. So did the pumpkin bread and pumpkin pie by Liquid Barn to try to back up the pumpkin pie by Hankson. And the picture I saw, it looked like a pumpkin puree with a gingerbread cookie on the side of it. So I had to throw my new Capella's gingerbread cookie on there. So, well, it's not cookie, gingerbread Capella. Yeah. And then, of course, I just creamed the shit out of it, typical Lumi style. I used cream milky undertones and cream filling by Wonder Flavors. I really like the butter notes and how thick of a cream that is, so I figure if I can dilute it a little bit with more creams, I'm getting away with using it. And whipped cream. Oh, and vanilla pudding. Oh, and vanilla ice cream. I creamed the shit out of it.
You just creamed it.
I like creaming things.
Oh, okay. We'll make a note of that. Hold on. Let me go get my notebook.
And then the whipped cream was in there, not so much for its creamy note, but because it just felt like I was just having a battle of the creams and pumpkins. I figured TPA whipped cream would kind of smooth it out. So
yeah, definitely.
I went the Rin route, I guess, and I actually dove into my TPA whipped cream feeler. And that's it.
That's it.
I don't know how the heck you get ramen noodles from Hankson pumpkin pie.
It's the spice notes. There's the spice notes that are in there that it's something that just is reminiscent of ramen noodles. I want to say it's the chicken ramen noodles.
Yep, that's the one that I eat a lot.
Chicken ramen noodles. You guys and your super tasters.
I think if you eat ramen noodles enough and you try it, you're probably like, oh.
Everybody in my house has been sick this last month, and for some reason that means it's ramen noodle season.
Yep.
Because I guess, I never thought about it, but the amount of sodium that there is in ramen noodles must be the reason it feels good on your throat if you have a sore throat. It's actually just killing whatever germs you have back.
All the salt. It's just
well, it's
iodizing the crap out of the virus.
Yeah, when I actually tried this pumpkin pie last year on Fresh from the Kitchen, and you guys get to see my horrible expressions towards that one, I too was probably feeling under the weather because it's normally just a Lumi thing. And so I was probably eating the shit out of ramen noodles that week, and I was like, ugh.
I haven't had ramen noodles in a hot minute,
I hadn't either. And my daughter is one of those, people that she's like one of those new age people that's like, oh my God, it's gotten so much wax and it's so bad for you. We can't eat this. And then she got sick.
It's horrible for us. I agree with her.
She got sick and she's like, can I get some ramen noodles? I was like, wait, but that stuff's killing you, remember?
But salt and starch is awful.
Yeah.
Salt, starch, and MSG.
For the broth.
Gosh.
I thought I was clever enough because when I made ramen noodles, I would cook them in the pan and then I would drain all the water out to try to get rid of some of that starchy, sticky feeling to it and then just replace it with fresh hot water.
There you go.
You know what I like to do when I used to eat them, because I used to eat the crap out of them, is after I made the noodles, before I put the seasoning in, I would drain most of the water and then put the seasoning in. So it was mostly just pasta, like extra flavored pasta that I was eating.
Terrible. But she's going off to college soon. So when she does, she knows she can, she can eat ramen noodles and drop an egg in there and call it egg drop noodles. She'll get her protein and her.
I was gonna say, at least she has some kind of nutrients in it.
And I saw somebody ask what's up with my weird percentages. I am not a troll. I have a very unique way of creating recipes. If there is an image given to me, or you starve me and leave me without food for enough time, like 4 hours, I'm starving. You put something in my head and put me in front of my wall. I start picking flavors that sound good together, and then I start sniffing them, just doing lines of flavors. And then when I come up with the percents, I do notes and look up everything, and I get like a general idea of where I want certain things to be. And then I go into my mind palace, which is normally me going like this. And then once a number tickles my nether regions, I stick with that number.
How does not the same number tickle you every time? I gotta tell you though, Lumi, if I were to mix this up, I'm rounding the numbers. I'm not gonna follow that. I'm just gonna round them up.
It's just not gonna be right if you don't do the numbers. I'm gonna taste what I'm tasting, but we already know you're probably not gonna mix it because there's 9 flavors in here.
Hey, I've mixed up long recipes before. It's not unheard of. I don't do
mixed a couple of my long ass recipes.
Only because you make me.
I didn't make you make that pistachio brulee. I was very surprised that you did that on your own.
I did that of my own volition, and I'm glad I did.
And I didn't make you do the milk tart either.
Oh yeah, that was good. That was good too.
I know what I'm going to call it now. Instead of the tickle in the nether region, it's going to be called the Lumi senses because it's kind of like Spidey senses. You kind of get that little feel.
So from here on forward, everyone knows that the Lumi senses means a tickle in your nether region. Yep. I'm using it, Lumi. It's happening.
It's happening.
It's a thing now.
It's not going to be very noticeable. It's kind of like it's just like a weird feeling. Like when you see something really gross and you feel like your nether region is trying to crawl up inside of you to go hiding. It's like a mixture of that, but like a kind of like in a
good way, right?
I was gonna say that doesn't sound pleasant.
It's not, it's nowhere near as bad as the gross one where you kind of go into yourself and you're like, hide. Or like a little.
I think we've gone.
It's like part cringe and part delight.
What'd you mix, Winstead?
Yeah, let's move on from. I'm a visual learner. Pictures in my head. I am actually there's like a train of visuals going across my forehead and my brain, and I'm like, oh God, this is wrong.
Let's move it on.
All right, so mine's just a ginger butterscotch custard. Can you say that 3 times fast? Ginger butterscotch custard. And I say just, but I I love it. I hate cinnamons, right? So it's because most cinnamon to me tastes like, a handful of pennies. All I could taste is like a copper background note. I don't taste cinnamon like your average individual. Anyhow, in flavorings, I do like cinnamon in like cakes and in real foods, but cinnamon flavorings to me are not pleasure. It's not a pleasant experience at all. So I took advantage of the color of this picture to make, and it has a gingerbread cookie on it, to make a ginger butterscotch custard. And let me tell you, I made a couple of renditions because while I was making this, I was trying not to use Capella Custard V1. That did not work for me. No matter what I tried, if I wanted to keep it simple, I had to use Vanilla Custard V1. So I mixed Flavor Art butterscotch with Flavora butterscotch. Um,
Yum.
Flavor Art butterscotch at 2%. It's got a lot of caramel notes. It's very nice and dark and caramelly like. And then the butterscotch from Flavora has creamier notes, and it has a little bit more of a zing to it than Flavor Art does. So it's got that warmth that Flavor Arts is missing from theirs. So the combination of the two, it needed the butterscotch from Flavora to give it that depth I was looking for, especially to cut through that vanilla custard that I used at 4%. I use eggnog from Flavora at 1% because that has a lot of what is that spice called? It's nutmeg. And
Allspice.
huh?
Allspice.
I taste a lot of nutmeg in the. Don't you guys taste nutmeg in the Flavora, or is it allspice?
Nutmeg.
It's nutmeg, isn't it? That's what I thought. So I taste the nutmeg in the eggnog, and I use that at 1% because for some reason at this time of the year, it's like all I want is different types of eggnogs. So the butterscotch and eggnog is usually a pretty good combination of a darker type eggnog. And then gingerbread from Cap, to me, when you bump it all the way to 3.5%, it's got a very it's spicy. It's got all the gingerbread I want in there, but it's got a nice buttery note too that accents and plays very well with the butterscotch. So again, everything is like very cohesive. Everything goes together towards the same exact recipe. Hazelnut from Molenberry is a very nice hazelnut. Not overly creamy. It is not as not as much not as many nut notes as in Nut Mix from Flavor Art, which would have been my original option had I not wanted to play with the one from Molenberry because it smelt so nice. In addition to that, it's got a little added sweetness to it, so it's not a very dry flavor. And it added to the milky notes. It dried out the Capella vanilla note enough to blend everything in. I don't know exactly what it did to it, but it's delicious, y'all. And then, of course, at the end of the day, vanilla custard V1 at 4%. I used EM instead of sweetener, instead of anything with sucralose in it, because EM keeps the custard in a softer note, kind of like a drink, more than it does a thick, heavy type of mix. So it actually feels light but full flavored, if that makes any sense. It's really good to me. And that's it. That's it. I actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ingredients. That's not bad for me.
Not bad at all. So, two things. The first one is I freaking love the butterscotch combo that you use. I use it all the time of FA and Flavor butterscotch. Like, this looks amazing with like the spice note and butterscotch. And EM and like vanilla custard. EM just goes so much better with vanilla custard to me than like sucralose. It just, I don't know what it is, but it just.
Well, because when you add the sucralose, it gives you that sugar lips. So it turns it more into like a frosting or into, it works with cakes if you're using the custard, but if you're using a milk type thing, it doesn't work as well.
And the second thing is, why does mulberry got to be redundant? Like, why do they name it nut hazelnut?
And I don't know, is that really what it's called?
On ELR it is anyway.
On ELR it is, and I might have picked the wrong one. It actually says, yeah, it does. It says nut hazelnut.
Now I get it with like their nut banana, because man, that's awesome. That's like banana and nuts. But like hazelnut is already a nut. So like, are there other nuts with the hazelnut?
Well, they might have a hazelnut cream, so they wanted you to know this was the nut one. And another thing, I don't know that English is their first language. So, as a matter of fact, I don't think it is at all.
Yeah,
So
they're
maybe
like,
maybe that's how you
German
say
or
it in
something,
your
aren't they?
country, and they just automatically translated it.
Could be. Anyway, so how does mulberry hazelnut compare to something like a Flavor West hazelnut or a Flavor Art hazelnut?
Okay, yeah, and that's a great question, because I did have my Flavor West out and my Mullenberry out. Flavor West has a lot more of a cream note, and I think it would have interfered with my butterscotch. So that was the deciding factor also. And Flavor Art has too much of a realistic nut flavor to it, where even though Mullenberry does, but it's more of a sweetened hazelnut. It's on the sweet side. It's almost like it's got a little bit more sweetener to it.
So it's kind of in the middle, It's kind of like
the middle of the two. It would have taken me Flavor West probably at 0.75% with Flavor Art at 0.10 to make what I get out of Mullenberry.
awesome. This looks freaking good, and I'm putting it on my list to mix, like right now, because I love me some butterscotch, especially in the wintertime.
It is a good. I mean, I don't fill up my squonker with my weekly recipes, because I'm very particular what I have in my squonker. So I drip my recipes that I make weekly. And this thing is full. Not only is it full, but I went back and made 120 ml right afterwards. In addition to that, it's versatile. So if you wanted it spicy, I made one of my versions had the Flavor Art Jamaican rum in it. Except, you know me and my boozy mixes. And then another one had Flavora. As a matter of fact, I have it right here because bourbon. Because I actually did a tank mix. I added it to my squonk afterwards, one drop, so I can squish it in there. But it's versatile, so you can add something warmer to it if you wanted to, some other boozy notes.
Cool.
I was thinking also maybe Vape Train light rum would go good in it.
Awesome. That looks freaking good. Thank you for sharing. Joshua says technically hazelnut isn't a nut. What is it? A fruit?
Hey Google, what is a hazelnut classified as?
According to Wikipedia, the hazelnut is the nut of the hazel and therefore includes any of the nuts deriving from species of the genus Corylus, especially the nuts of the species Corylus avellana.
Your Google's British. Oh my gosh, I need to make my Google British.
Yeah, it's calling it a nut.
I love it. Oh, it's happening. We're making my Google British.
You could turn it Australian as well.
Oh, let's do Australian.
I think my Google is Australian.
Oh, it's so, yep, it's happening.
Does it use a lot of foul language?
My wife's in the background going, nope.
I kind of wish it did.
I constantly tell Google to do some very inappropriate things and read it back to me. Normally beeps it out.
I don't know what I ever did without a Google Home. Like seriously, I use it all the time.
I don't.
I rarely use mine.
I used to have a Siri, and I don't talk to Siri. I don't even talk to Siri to ask her to make phone calls for me. And my daughter uses her Siri.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, and you can do that with Google now. Is they can do phone calls and text. But what I use it for mostly is like when I'm cooking, timers and recipes and stuff. And we use it to control our lights. We've got a bunch of like those Philips Hue lights.
The smart home. You're going smart.
Yeah. If we're going smart, I'm all about that smart life.
You're about the smart life.
Your house is going to abduct you and eat you.
Ah, I don't know. Maybe I won't go that far, but like, but you know, lights. It's fun to just say, "Hey, you know who? Turn on the lights." You know.
Hey
Oh,
Google,
you can't even
turn on
say
the
it
lights.
because it'll respond.
Yeah, it responded to Lumi when she said it.
Start messing with Emily's stuff. Hey Google, turn off the lights.
So we had a few play-alongs this week. Rin was awesome and put up on our Facebook the post of the profile, and we had a few people play along. We had someone say they didn't like ginger, so they didn't want to play along, but they still commented, which is awesome. We love any participation, any and all participation. It's freaking awesome. So, oh, that's not right. Let me pull it up. The first one was really cool. They kind of took the inspiration from the picture. This is from Cindy Chesler. She was inspired by the photo, but she went with a different direction when she started mixing, which it happens. You know, you get going and you get on a roll and you think, oh, you know, she made it into a tobacco. Well, a tobacco, which I think is really awesome. So she did 2% Capella gingerbread, 2% DIY Flavor Shack Holy Grail Rip, 2% Capella sugar cookie, 0.6% Flavora yam, and then 2% Inawera Yes Sweet cheesecake.
That's very nice.
That looks good, and I love that Holy Grail RY4. I would definitely mix this up with that yam in there to give it the pumpkinness. Awesome.
And the 2% Yes We cheesecake, that's got to bring that yam note up. You know, it's got to thicken it up nicely.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because the yam, like if you don't keep it low like she did, it can get kind of like raw and vegetal and almost like too earthy. But if you keep it low and then you add something like that cheesecake, I bet it's fire. I bet this is really good. She says she tested both the RDA and the Zenith mouth to lung tank, and she prefers the mouth to lung vape with it. So she uses a 0.8 coil. And yeah, I bet it's really nice. It's a nice, rich, kind of desserty tobacco.
And I'll say with my recipe as well, it has a different note depending on the temperature. So I think that gingerbread is probably something that will work well in pods also.
Oh yeah, nice. That's good to know. Oh, and then Esco played along. His recipe is private, but he did share the ingredients with us on Facebook. And his is a cocoa Irish cream mousse. So it's 2% Mullenberry Bounty, 1% Capella Buttercream, 1% Capella Cereal 27, 2% Mullenberry Cookie Bite, 3% Capella Hot Cocoa, 1% Capella Irish Cream, 0.9% FA Meringue, and he used 1% of that Mullenberry nut hazelnut as well.
I guess everybody's gone and gotten that hazelnut. It just is really good, Emily. You do need to add that to your cart.
I've been trying to push for a hazelnut episode on Fresh from the Kitchen since I bought it. So definitely needs to be dove into.
I'll have to check that one out for sure. Because I like hazelnut. I think it's very versatile and it can add a nice note to things. And yeah, I wonder, one thing I haven't tried, how is that Capella hot cocoa flavor?
I haven't tried that either. I wonder.
I drank it in my coffee.
Oh yeah?
It was pretty tasty in my coffee, but it was a horrible vape.
Okay.
Like I can see maybe using it as an additive, but it using it on its own, it's very fake. It's fake chocolate. It's very much Swiss Miss.
Oh well, I mean, that's
Well, I
what
like
he was
Swiss
kind
Miss.
of going for.
Wow, our Swiss Miss love of hot cocoa is not relevant to hot cocoa. It's not good enough.
I
JJ
like
likes
real
that
cocoa.
dark grilled chocolate melted.
Yeah,
She's a cocoa snob. She likes
I'm a
Swiss
chocolate
Miss.
snob. I admit it. I like good chocolate.
Dude, I got some after Halloween chocolates.
I made myself a Godiva flourless chocolate torte last night.
Ooh.
It was delicious.
Yum.
Chocolate people suck.
All
My
right, we have-
mom's a chocoholic too, and she's such a chocolate snob. You can't just buy her some cheap shit and bring it over and say, "Here's some kisses, Mom." She's like, "Thank you," and she'll eat one, and she'll be like,
I'll eat Hershey Kisses if they have almonds in them.
Oh yeah.
They
"No,
have to
I
have
eat the
nuts.
dark Hershey's kisses," and I'm like, "That's not even really a Hershey's kiss. What are you doing?"
All right, so we've learned so far that I like creaming things and Jennifer Jarvis likes nuts.
No, Jennifer Jarvis is a chocolate snob.
I'm a chocolate snob.
And she likes nuts.
I do like nuts, yes.
Really
Nuts and chocolate go together. Nuts and fruit
They
for the most
do.
part don't.
All right,
Or
so
I'm
we
sorry,
have-
chocolate and nut fruit.
I'm a cheese and wine person, in case
I know.
anybody wanted to know.
I love chocolate covered strawberries. I think they go really well together.
It just tastes weird to me.
All right, so we have one more play along, and it's from I Am Sam. And he did a pumpkin pie with the apostrophe pudding. Pumpkin pie pudding V2. He did 0.8% FA caramel, 2% FA cookie, 1.4% FA custard premium, 0.6% FA notice cake, 0.8% Flavora pumpkin spice, 0.75% Capella super sweet, 1% Flavora vanilla pudding, and 1% Flavora yam.
If there's anywhere that Flavora's that Flavor Arts Nona's cake goes in, it's gonna be in the fall recipe.
Right?
It's gonna go in with some pumpkin spice and some cookie. If it goes in anything, it's gonna go in that because of the anise note in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna make the yam. I mean, I can't believe I had not thought of that myself before.
Yeah, I think
really,
normally I'd stay away from Nona's cake as far as possible, as far as I can, but in something like this, I think it would fit really well.
It's a good placement for it, and I think I'll go play with it this way now, because I never thought about it with. I might make a pumpkin.
You know, and if you're gonna use a pumpkin spice flavor, Flavora pumpkin spice is the one to use. I really like that one.
I think it's the best one that's not offensive.
Yeah. Thanks, Sam. This looks good. Thanks for playing along.
Yep. Thank you so much. You gave me a bright idea.
Okay, so next week, what do we got going on? This looks really interesting too. It's like a cranberry kind of parfait or something, like a custard with some kind of red fruit. It could be cranberry this time of year.
It's cream with red fruit and something crumbled on top.
Something crumbled on top.
And something stuck in it that kind of looks like a pastry of some sort, like a pastry finger.
Yeah, it does. Looks like one of those, what do they call them, lady fingers?
It looks more like a Pop-Tart, but like small.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the heck is that?
So it's creamy, bakery, and fruity.
Yeah, a good blend of everything. So,
Are you sure about that? Because I was really going for the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches that were behind it. I wasn't really gonna go for the parfait. I saw
Whatever you see.
Whatever you see in the picture, that's what you go for.
You go for it.
I'm gonna do the spoon.
Do that soon.
Let's see what tastes like.
Bit of a
spoon.
dangerous swirl.
I was just thinking, like, oh, so you CDS and you're done.
Maybe some of that tablecloth. So like cereal 27,
Uh,
cardboard.
Get out of here! I love Cereal 27.
Like rusty spoons, though? Are you like salad fingers? And you just, I like rusty spoons. I like to caress them.
All right, folks. So that is the show for today. I want to thank our sponsors. Thank you, Bull City Flavors and Flavora. Thank you, Wayne, for putting us on your podcast network and spreading the love. And thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next week.
See y'all next week. Hey, don't take us off yet. Let me just say something. So next week is the okay. So next week is the Vapors Rally in Washington, D.C. I don't know how many of you guys are going, able to go, or whatever. Just want to let you guys know I am a speaker at the event. And if you guys want to go out there and, and support the vaping cause here in the States, I would love to see some of my fellow DIYers while I stand on that stage, scared shitless around a bunch of people I don't know speaking for a solid 5 minutes. My speech is actually 7 minutes, but I'm sure I'll get nervous and say it in 3.5. So you might understand what I have to say, or you might not. That's what I wanted to say.
Okay. And one more thing before we get out of here. Let's just drag it on for a little bit longer. Why don't we? E-cig Express is still selling our one-shots as of now. I don't know how long it'll be before they stop, but as of right now, they're still selling it. So if you want to check us out and support us because you like what we do, head on over there and you just either follow the link I just put in, or if you just search MIXINVIXENS, and you can buy our one shots.
Exactly right.
That's all, guys. Everyone have a good night. We love you.
Bye.